Thanks for coming to Clinic 2. Today we're going to go over everything cycling. I've got a little bit of content I want to go through. We're going to break it down a little bit, but feel free to ask questions as we end each slide. All right. My name is Rashawn. I work here at LibGrant along with several other people. We've got Gillian in the back, Jeff over here. Jim is one of our head coaches.
Hey,
Saban's one of our specialty bike guys. And we've got technicians and fitters in the back. We've also got Hootie, who's basically the man that runs Chicago Triathlon for you. He's the reason that we're able to put on a first timers program for you guys, really able to give back and really build the next set of athletes. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. So we went over the swim portion of the triathlon already. Today's going to be the bike. So we're going to break it down. First off, you're going to get out of your swim, you're going to go into transition area, and then you're going to get on your bike, put on your helmet, and you're going to bike a set amount of distance. If you are doing the sprint triathlon, you're going to be biking 15 miles. If you're doing the Olympic triathlon, you're going to do 24.8. Everyone know what distance they're doing? Good. All right. So Chicago Triathlon is one of the, I think it's the only one in my mind in the world, where you ride on the left and you pass on the right. We get to have Lakeshore Drive, the two inner lanes of Lakeshore Drive the whole way pretty much. And so we're gonna ride on the inside towards the median where you're further away from cars, a little bit safer. And then you have the other lane for passing, all right? In the transition area, or right after the transition area, there's gonna be a mount line. So that means when you come out of the transition line, or transition area, you're gonna have your helmet already buckled. You're gonna have whatever you're wearing for the bike leg already on, and you're gonna walk your bike out, or run your bike, depending on how ambitious you are. You're gonna go out of transition area. There is a mount line where you have to be beyond that line to get on your bike, okay? Making sure that you're out past transition. Then you get to mount your bike. You'll climb up a little on-ramp, so you're going to want to make sure you're in an easy gear, up Randolph Street onto Lakeshore Drive, head all the way north, come back down, or turn on around at Hollywood, and come back down. There's a little video we're going to see what the course is specifically, but when you get off your bike, when you are coming back into transition line, just like there was a mount line, there is a dismount line. You have to get off your bike by that point. If you are touching your bike, it is a good rule to always have your helmet on and buckled. Because if you're on it and you don't have that buckled, you will be disqualified. They'll pull you off the course. We're all about safety here at LibGrant and Chicago Triathlon, so wear your helmets.
Hey Rashawn, I got a question.
Yeah.
Can you ride your bike in transition?
No. Don't ride your bike in transition. It's also grass, so it'll be a little harder. Yeah, so you're only going to be riding your bike after the mount line and before the dismount line when you get off. So we're going to see the course. So you're going to get out of the swim, and then, so this is the swim. Comes for the Olympic. You come south first to Museum Campus, get out of the water, and head to transition. We're going up Lakeshore Drive all the way up to Hollywood.
It's not that far.
It's literally only 7.5 miles away.
It's not that bad.
You're going to come back down, and if you're doing the sprint, you'll go down into the transition area. This is the difference to the Olympic distance. So you get to go on lower whackers and lower whackers. If you've ever watched the movie Batman and you wondered where they filmed all those truck scenes, you get to bike it. So that's really, if you're doing the Olympic, that's really exciting. If you're doing the sprint, there's only one other time you get to ride your bike on Lakeshore Drive, and that's this weekend at Bike and Drive. So it's really cool to pass all the cars as you're riding down. So this is just kind of a different flow up of the course. It's really easy. There's a lot of volunteers that are going to be out on the course. You'll know well ahead of time when you need to take your U-turn. You're going to slow into that turn, take your U-turn, and come right back down. Same for when you're on lower whacker. Anytime that there's a turn or anything that you need to know about, there's going to be signs. There's going to be volunteers. You will be leveled. you will know everything beforehand. This is also why we do the course talk. So we will be doing first timers course talk as well. But during the course talk, we go over specific things. Maybe there's a pothole that just popped up that you need to know about. We'll let you know in the course talk. Any questions about the actual course
The
before we move
bike
on?
is, so it's one lane, like
It's
one.
2 lanes of Lakeshore Drive going up, 2 lanes of Lakeshore Drive going
Oh,
back on the other
okay.
side. So you've got lots of room.
Right.
Then we also talked about, so triathlon is a solitary sport, so we're not going to be drafting off of other people's bikes. So you need to remain, I believe it's 3 bike lengths behind the person in front of you. When you are cycling, you always want to call out your passes. So in this case, you'd say on your right. All other cases, you'd say on your left. But in this triathlon, on your right, it is once you pass the front wheel of the person next to you, it is their responsibility to drop back behind you. It is your but you only have a set amount of time. You can't sit there trying to pass that person for forever. So you've got at least 20 seconds to make your pass. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. Really, just don't bike really close to people. That's the easy one. Just keep it, if you can touch them, you're too close. Women specifically, I'm sorry for our gender, but we're all going to try and pass you. And then you can pass us on the run later when we're pooped. But you're going to see a lot of people trying to call you out. In terms, yeah.
And you stay on the right or you have to get in?
You have to stay on the left. You want to stay in that left lane unless you're passing.
Okay.
Good question.
With the one exception is once you're off of Lakeshore Drive, it switches back, right, to where you pass on the left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only the
Yes.
sprint portion
Yes.
that's Lakeshore Drive where you're passing on the right. For the rest of the course, for the Olympic folks, you actually switch over to riding on the right, passing on the left.
And that'll make sense in the race itself because once you get onto the lower whacker, the whole street is closed.
Mhm.
You have the whole tunnel. So it'll be really easy to recognize where people are and not worry about cars and stuff. Cool. All right, so we're gonna go on to gear. In terms of gear, for the bike course, you need a bike. Pretty self-explanatory. Your bike needs to have 2 working brakes and gears, multiple. That's it. As long as, 2 wheels. No more, no less. But as long as you have those, that's all that matters in terms of the actual bike. You need a helmet that's within 5 years old. If it's older than 5 years old, it's just a very fancy, ugly cap. After 5 years, the helmets degrade, and so when you actually, if you were to get in an accident, it would crumple rather than absorb the shock. So, helmet that's under 5 years old, a working bike. Along with the bike, there's usually service that has to be. So, if you have a bike that's been sitting in the garage for several years, maybe you borrowed it from somebody, make sure that it's working correctly, make sure it's safe for you. Bring it to any licensed or any proper bike shop. We'll take a look at it for free, make an assessment, go over with you what's going right, what's going wrong on the bike. And then there's also fitting for a bike. So fitting becomes much more important when we start talking about road bikes and triathlon bikes. But ideally, the idea behind it is that the bike is going to be set up both the right size for you, but set up so that you're going to be able to create the most power, the most efficiency, and avoid injury. So that's kind of our focus is here. Obviously, it'll make you a little faster as well, but you'll feel a little more comfortable on the bike as well. So that's kind of what servicing and stuff you would need for the bike. And it becomes a little less important, the fitting with hybrids or mountain bikes because they have a little bit more comfort built into them. There's a little less efficiency there as it is. You don't need a triathlon bike, okay? Triathlon bike, this is one right here. It is a very purpose-driven bike. It is really great and really fast at going in a straight line. It's not really great for much else. You're not gonna go to the grocery store on one of these guys. So, finding the bike that's going to suit your needs for all the things that you do. You know, we're here to help, or there's a lot of different opportunities for you to figure out exactly what type of bike is going to be the perfect one for you if you don't have one already. So we will do an example of changing a flat later today, actually at 8 exactly. So if you want to learn how to change a flat, stick around. If not, we're also going to be doing other maintenance clinics throughout the summer so that you can learn how to maintain your bike, how to make sure that it lasts you a little longer time, and that it's going to run smoothly the whole time for you. Some of these things are really basic. You can do it at home. Just requires a little knowledge and a few tools. Yeah, so we'll go over that. And then comes clothing and shoes. So we touched upon it in the previous, in the swim clinic about triathlon clothing. But there's also, if you're going to be on your bike a lot, which you spend most of your time on the bike in the triathlon, it's nice to have some cycling specific clothing as well. If you're just doing a ride, you'll notice one, it's got sleeves, so it's a little cooler. You're going to have much bigger pockets for all the extra peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you're carrying or whatever you want to eat along the way. For me, it's donuts.
Can you bring an ice cream bar?
You gotta get that at the gas station. And then if you've played around with our triathlon clothing, you'll notice it had a pad in the shorts so that it could be a lot more comfortable to ride. Well, in the bike shorts, they're bigger and they're everywhere, so it's a lot more comfortable and you can go a lot longer. So that's going to be what separates cycling clothing and triathlon clothing. Again, things that make your training a lot better. If you're doing a lot of bike riding, that should help you be more comfortable. If not, a tri-kit with no sleeves and a smaller pad will work great. Again, these are not necessary, but they do make both biking and the race a lot easier to go through. Shoes. So, has anyone not heard of clipping into their shoes? Everyone heard of clipping into your bike? Basically, you're just attaching yourself to the bike. You're putting on your shoes and you're clipping in so you're locked into the pedals. The reason that people do this is because not only do you have to, you're much more efficient, you're not just pushing down on the pedal, you get to pull up on the backside, you can spin your legs. A lot of you, when you just have standard flat pedals, a lot of your energy is actually spent just keeping your foot in place. So as you're pushing down on the front pedal, you're actually pushing down on the back pedal to keep your foot on the pedal. So this eliminates a lot of that extra force you're using, makes you a lot more efficient, should make it a little bit more comfortable as well. So cycling shoes, and comes with that the cycling pedals, and there's a lot of different styles of both, but make your bike ride a lot more efficient, a lot easier. Again, not a necessity. We're talking about things that's going to improve both the race and your enjoyment of riding. And the last thing we're going to kind of talk about is the carbon and aero. You'll hear that a lot when it comes to bikes. There are obviously many different types of bikes. Bikes are usually made of steel, aluminum, or carbon fiber. Okay. As you go up that spectrum, it's going to get lighter. It's going to dampen a lot of the road vibrations, so become a lot more comfortable, and it's going to become stiffer. And by that I mean the bike will not flex as much when you're putting your weight and pedal power into the pedals, so more of your power goes to transferring you forward. So that's the reason people ride carbon bikes. They're a little bit more comfortable, they make you go faster, and that goes along with the whole idea of aero. So triathlon bikes like these are all designed, if you can't all see it, you can see these tubes are a lot flatter. They're designed to be more aerodynamic in the wind and as you're riding, because as you get to certain speeds, most of what you're fighting is not just how much power you can put in, but the drag of the air starts pushing at you a lot more. So switching to something that's a little bit more aerodynamic is going to help your speed overall. So we'll go over kind of the flat changing later, like I said, but having a saddlebag off the back of your saddle with flat kit tools in there is always helpful. I feel like about once every 2 weeks, I change someone's flat, and I usually don't have the stuff with me. That person does, and I'm just able to help because they carried their stuff. So even if you don't want to ever change a flat, you don't want to learn, that's okay. Still carry the stuff with you. I'd rather you not be stuck somewhere. Any questions on gear, things like that, what you would need for biking? We've got a whole lot of bike, yes.
Okay, so let's say I go ahead and get a pair of bike shorts.
Yes.
Like padded bike shorts.
Yep.
Okay. Am I gonna wear those padded bike shorts when I'm swimming and when I'm running?
So that's why I was talking about the tri-suit versus the bike suit. That's a great question. So if you get the bike shorts, You probably don't want to, because that pad is going to be really big. It's not going to get rid of that water as much, so you're going to get out of the water kind of feeling like you're wearing a wet diaper. Not going to enjoy the bike, and then let's not talk about the chafing on the run. So, yes, you could. Don't do it. Tri-suit is going to be much better for that. That chamois is designed to shed that water quicker. It's designed to get out of the way for the swim and the run, and then still give you padding when you need a bike.
So then this setup is not necessarily the ideal setup.
Right, bike short, like a cycling kit would not be what you would want to race in.
Okay.
It's more of a, like, if you're cycling, you know, if you see the groups that go by,
Right.
if you're like doing centuries or anything like that, that's what you'd be wearing.
You know, one thing you could do is maybe have one pair of tri shorts, one pair of cycling shorts, and kind of cycle them out, right? Like, I often do long rides in bike shorts, but always race in tri shorts. So it's okay to have some of both. You'll probably need more than one pair, just from a laundry perspective, anyway. I'd imagine it's right. Rashawn only has one pair though. It's kind of
Don't bike too close to me. You gotta no drafting. I kind of brushed over the fitting. I just want to kind of talk about, so if you buy a bike that is new, whoever you buy it from should give you a fit. That should just be, every bike shop usually does some sort of aspect of that. That's really important, so if you are looking at new bikes, please keep that in mind. We do our fits on the custom fit machine here so that we can basically see what your needs are. We're not going to see like, oh, the bike can only do this and this and this, so here it works for you. We're going to address what your needs are, how your biking style is going to be, and then make the bike work for you. So keep that in mind if you are looking for new bikes out there. Any other questions on gear and stuff? Yeah.
You said the helmet had to be like, with it, like not older
Under
than-
5 years old. Yep.
Are there any other things that you
Yes.
would looking for in a helmet?
So it needs to have, there's a little tiny sticker in here, right there, that says CPSC. Okay, that is the certification that this helmet will protect your head. There's a lot of helmets out there that you can buy at Target, Walmart, all that stuff, that look very similar to this and don't have that sticker. It's not going to do anything for you. Helmets are also very different. So skiing and skateboarding helmets can work. They usually are. A lot of them are CPSC certified. You're not going to have the same sort of air ventilation, or it won't keep your head cool. It's going to actually probably heat it up a little bit more, but it'll still work for you. Motorcycle helmets, not going to work at all, right? It's different relative speeds, different things like that. So keep that in mind. The other one I always get asked occasionally is horse riding helmets, also not the same. The things that change in a helmet is how much airflow you get in, the fit of it, and then how aerodynamic it is. Most important is going to be, does it fit your head, and is it going to keep your head cool? That's ultimately it. None of us are going to win, so might as well enjoy it. Any other questions? Yeah.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
the bike shoes on race day are optional or?
Optional.
Okay.
You can wear your tennis shoes and flat pedals and then not have to worry about changing in transition 2. You can wear clip-in shoes, you can do the cages, you can do what you want. Bike, I don't usually recommend the clip cages or like the toe cages at all. I usually say if you're going to do a sort of retention system, either do a flat pedal with nothing or cycling shoes and clips. But do what's comfortable to you. Shoes and clip system do take some getting used to. So if you are doing it, expect there to be a learning curve. I always say there's 2 types of cyclists that like clipping in. Those who are fallen and liars.
It's true.
Yeah,
So you recommend wearing the triathlon suit the entire time?
whole time.
And not transitioning after the bike to a running outfit?
Correct.
Okay.
It's gonna keep you dry, it's gonna keep you moving, it's gonna keep you cool, and it just reduces a lot of logistics for the day. It's designed for all 3 sports, so.
Or any type of bike, okay.
As long as it's got 2 brakes, gears, and 2 wheels, you are good to go. I did my first couple.
Gears? Like multiple gears?
Yes.
So if I have one, it's,
You can technically do it on a single speed. You cannot do it on a fixed gear. The difference being a single speed, you can coast. A fixed gear, you cannot coast. So you need to have at least 2 brakes, and it can't be a fixed gear bike. I usually say that you should have a geared bike because, contrary to popular belief, the Chicago Triathlon is not a flat bike course. You are going to go over every overpass on Lakeshore Drive. You're not going to hit any hills, but literally it's overpass over overpass next to overpass. So gears help.
It also can be really windy, which has the same impact.
Yes. Any other questions on gear before we move to the next episode? Cool. All right, so getting ready for the race, you're going to need to start riding your bike. So we offer a couple group rides on Sunday mornings, free for all, come like any pace, any bike. We've got a shorter ride that goes on the lakefront. We actually switch the routes up occasionally on that one. We've got a longer one that's 44 miles, heads out to the suburbs, gets a lot of hills. We start and stop here. They're great places to kind of learn biking etiquette, biking through the city, kind of learn how to bike through the city, and get that endurance into your legs. So make sure that you are spending time on the bike. The lakefront path is not always the best place to bike. I know a lot of people love to go out there. I would suggest against it. Unless you're going to the south portion is a lot more open, there's more lanes, it's a lot cleaner. Please just go to the south portion. But if you're trying to bike the whole lakefront path, especially in congested times, you're gonna have to stop and start much more than you would in the streets of the city. And to be honest, there are less people paying attention, so you're more likely to have an incident happen.
Where would you say the south portion starts?
I would usually say that you should get on at the 18th Street Bridge, just south of Soldier Field.
Okay.
Ideally,
Okay.
right? Like if you've got to bike really slow to get to that point, great. But that's where our group rides on Sunday mornings. We bike from here basically to 18th Street. We cross over onto the Lakefront Path and then go south. And there's a lot of great path on the south side. You can actually take trails all the way to Indiana. So join a group ride, whether it's ours, whether it's one that's closer to where you are. Get out with friends. The best way to become a stronger cyclist, as well as swimming and running, is by doing it with other people.
What does the no drop ride mean?
Oh, so no drop means we're never going to leave you behind. So there's a lot of rides that are very focused on speed, and they're going to go, and if you can't keep up with the speed, you're on your own. We stop periodically to let everyone regroup and make sure that no one is riding by themselves. So that's what the no drop refers to. Okay, so as part of the first timers, the cycling portion is kind of the biggest portion in terms of actual stuff, right? So we're here to help you. If you already have your bike, we're offering a bunch of fitting services discounted, as well as our labor services discounted if you need a tune-up. And as well as through the week, we're going to do any cycling accessories. So whether that be your triathlon suit, whether that be I need extra tires for my bike, lube, something, we're offering you a little bit of a discount. So come talk to us, figure out what your needs may be, and we'll help you. As part of the First Timers program as well, we're going to be doing a DIY try where you can kind of practice the transitions, get a feel for what a triathlon is like. You get priority access to that, as well as to our CompuTrainer studio where you can bike inside, really learn about your power and your efficiency in biking. And as well, we've got the Sunday morning group rides. All right.
The State Street Service.
So we name our services after the famous streets here in Chicago. So our basic one is Milwaukee. Our most popular ones are Michigan and State. Our State Street Service really basically, to boil it down in a couple words, we tear apart your bike, we rebuild it. So we're really making sure it's safe, we're cleaning it from the inside out, and we're making sure that it is going to do well for you.
What does that cost with the 45?
Normally it's $120, so it comes down to 75.
75. Good math.
All right, and this
All right.
point, I'll bring Jim up.
All right, everybody. Let's talk some training. So first, introduce myself. I'm Jim Levesque, one of the triathlon coaches here at Grit Endurance. So I'm going to start by telling you a little story about my first triathlon, because you're all about to do your first, right? So I would ride every week for 1 hour at the exact same speed. Who thinks that's a good idea? Who do you thinks that's a good idea? Rajan would probably say maybe not at all.
That's what I do at all.
That was a mistake. I wish there was a first timers program to help me out before my first try. So I'm just going to give you a couple of tips, real short and sweet, but feel free to ask questions as I go around just some tips around training. So first off, talking about cadence. A lot of people have questions. What cadence should I ride at? Really, I recommend anything at 90 or above. So that's 90 revolutions per minute. So really the easiest way to monitor that or make sure you're doing that is through a bike computer, which they do sell here. You can also do it with a watch and just timing how many times you go through, maybe every 10 seconds or 30 seconds. But 90 is sort of that magic number where if you can at least be in around there or even higher, you're riding at an efficient cadence. What's cadence? That is a great question. So taking a step back, what cadence is how many revolutions per minute are you doing on the bike, right? So
Spinning your legs.
you might be spinning 50 or 60 times a minute, or you'll see some people riding at 100 to 120 revolutions per minute. It's all about what's more efficient. If you're riding at 50 or 60, which you see a lot of people doing on like divvies and stuff, yeah, that works and it's going to get you there, but it's really going to grind out your legs and really burn a lot of extra energy. So if you're able to pull that cadence up to above 90, it's more efficient and you're using more of your cardio, more of your heart rate, more of your breathing to help power you forward. It's also going to save some in your legs for the run as well. Make sense? What questions do you guys have on cadence? None? No questions? All right, so going back to that story of my first triathlon, right, and how I just rode at the same speed and training every time, that gets us into intervals. You really don't want to just be doing the same thing every time. You want to mix in some intensity, which is really going to build strength, endurance, and speed. You can even vary it up quite a bit, right? Like you can do 5-minute intervals, you can do 10-minute intervals, or even 30-second to 1-minute intervals, right? And so I know some of the training plans that are out there have interval-based training, some of those things as well. You can really kind of figure that out on your own, or you can reach out to coaches to get some more advice on how to incorporate interval training into your plan, but it's really helpful. And one thing that we offer here is CompuTrainer sessions. So we actually are partners with On Your Mark down the street, where we have speed and endurance-based CompuTrainer sessions where you bring your bike in, hook it up to a trainer, which is then tied to a computer, and you're able to sort of ride at what level you're at. So you could be here and some really strong riders right here, and then another kind of beginner rider is over here, and you're all doing the same workout and getting a great sweat in while you're doing it as well. So the CompuTrainer sessions can be a great value and really kind of push your endurance and your fitness to the next level. And we're actually offering a special deal for this group only, okay? If you use this code FTP, you get to go to a free CompuTrainer class and kind of check it out, okay? So we offer Tuesday mornings at 6 a.m., Thursday mornings at 6 a.m., and then Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. So great opportunity for you to get in there and try it out. You can do it for free if you sign up using FTP, First Timers Program, as your sign-up code. Any questions on intervals? Does anybody kind of understand what intervals are? Yeah.
My question
Feel
is, if you're doing like spin classes, how is that comparable to this interval?
Yep, so that's a great question. So how does a spin class kind of match up with these interval sessions? It is very similar. The only major difference is that you're not on your own bike, right? So with CompuTrainer, you're able to bring your own bike into the facility and then practice sort of on your own bike in your own position and sort of get the feel for your bike that way.
I will speak to that a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, feel free.
A spin bike is also a very different bike. It's a great workout. It's great for endurance, but it doesn't necessarily translate to cycling endurance because they're different position. You're using slightly different muscles, and because it's not that resistance knob is it works in a different manner than like increasing the resistance or going up a hill on a bike. Just increasing that resistance on a spin bike is not going to make you a better climber outside because you don't have gears to work with. So great workout doesn't necessarily translate to the best cyclists.
No. It's a great question. What other questions do you guys have? Yeah.
On race day, do you ride at one speed or do you do the intervals when you're on race day?
On race day, you really want to stay at one speed, right? You want to try to pace out at a speed that's both challenging, right, where you're going to get a lot out of it, but you're able to sustain it for the duration of the race and save something for your legs as well. So through training, it's good to ride those interval sessions because those are going to be either at a resistance or an effort level that's even greater than what you're going to be actually able to do on race day. So that's kind of how you push your body forward to be able to ride at a faster pace on race day. It also helps you kind of get a feel for what you're capable of. Like if you do maybe 4 sets of 10 minutes on a given ride and you're kind of shooting for that race pace, you should be able to comfortably do that 4 by 10 minute interval session. And that's going to kind of push you forward and help you understand, hey, I'm capable of this sort of effort level.
It's more same effort level than speed because remember, hills.
Hills and wind all can have a big influence, yeah. Yeah,
So would you do intervals through all of your bike training sessions, or just pick some and do some for just distance?
Great question. It kind of leads into the next point here, but we'll keep answering any questions on this interval-based type of riding. We also want to incorporate in longer endurance rides. And in those rides, we don't really want to do too many intervals or too much high-intensity stuff. Because that's actually really hard on your body, right? Like every time you're really pushing forward, doing high-intensity stuff, it takes longer to recover. But we also need to add endurance to what we're doing as well, and that's what we're talking about with these long rides here. And one of the great ways to do that is sort of on our team group rides, right, where we go like 15, 18 miles, or a longer ride where we go 44, or you can do your long rides on your own. But most training plans will have maybe one long ride per week, where it's really endurance-based. You're really trying to make sure you can get up to the distance of the race. So if you're doing the sprint, make sure through your endurance rides you're building up to a point where you can comfortably manage the race distance. Same with the Olympic. You want to be able to ride 25 miles or even more comfortably, right? But those are endurance-based. You're not really incorporating a lot of intervals. The interval training, the CompuTrainer sessions, that's really about boosting your fitness, your speed, your strength. But if you do that too often or try to mix that in with your longer rides, it can really lead to overtraining, burnout, and worst case scenario, even some injury as well. It's a great question.
So what would a typical week be like? You would do maybe 2 interval training sessions and 1 long ride, or just 1 interval training? Like if you're
Great question.
trying to do, you're gonna swim, run,
Yeah.
like 2 bikes a week?
Yeah, I would usually say for most athletes, you're probably doing 1 speed work / interval-based session a week, and you're probably doing 1 endurance-based session a week. You might have a recovery session in there as well. Keep in mind, it's tough to get in 3 of swim, 3 of bike, 3 of run. So each person's going to be a little bit different in what they're working on. I do also believe that there's a training plan as part of this as well. But typically, you'll find 1 interval session and 1 endurance session for the most part. Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, what other questions you guys have? Keep them coming.
You can't
Yeah.
stay behind
Oh,
a bike for the wind.
What's that?
You have to take a lot of space between the bikes. So
3 bikes.
last time I was riding with you guys, I was trying to, tell somebody to help me out. So it was 1 gear bike.
Yep.
So and it helped a lot. So we can't cheat like
In
that.
the race, you cannot. On training days, it helps. It's going to help you, like you said, get out of that wind, save your legs a little bit, maybe increase your speed if you're riding with someone that's a little faster than you. But you have to remember that race day, you're not allowed to do that at all. So you need to be able to do both if you're doing that as well.
And we're running a little low on time, but last point is bricks, right? So a brick session is when we take at least 2 of the 3 sports and combine them together like we will on race day. So you could do a brick where you do a swim followed by a bike, or a brick where you do a bike followed by a run. Both offer a lot of value, and I recommend doing them at least once so that you get a feel of what it's going to be like on race day, going from swimming in a horizontal position up to riding. But more importantly even is bricks from bike to run. So if you haven't done it before, the first time that you run after biking, it's going to feel a little weird. Your legs are going to feel kind of like jello. You might even feel a little dizzy.
Your feet will feel like bricks.
That is true. So it might even be a little intimidating the first time you do it. Well, I'm here to encourage you because it actually will get better. So through practicing it a few times, through a few brick training runs, that feeling starts to go away, and you start to get a lot more used to what it's like to run after biking. So you can do it two ways. You can do a quick transition run after your bike session, which I recommend doing quite often. Maybe just a 10-minute run or a 15-minute run to get used to the feeling, and maybe after your longer endurance ride on the weekend. And then at least once, maybe twice throughout the year, even do a longer brick where you do a longer ride followed by a longer run, which really kind of replicates what you're going to have to do on race day. So again, you got your shorter transition runs that you can do a little bit more often, and then your longer brick where you do a longer bike followed by a longer run. Make sense? Any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Is there something, like, should you be running any differently, like, because you've just, like, been on this bike, right, or is it more just, like, getting used to it?
So there's a couple of things. I definitely recommend starting off a little bit slower than your end goal pace, right? So you get off the bike, you want to start running right away, ease into a little bit, and then also keep your stride a little bit shorter, your cadence a little bit higher, and then gradually settle in over that first 5 minutes into your normal run pace. It's a great question. Any others? Yeah.
Do you have any advice for getting used to the positioning on the bike?
Have you been fit?
No.
What type of bike?
What
What type of bike?
It's a Volano.
Road bike?
Yeah.
That would be my first suggestion. Being fit on a bike is going to ultimately make you comfortable. We can give you tips, and it's still going to feel terrible, right? Bike shorts help, the right saddle helps, but even without those two things, if you're way off and you're fit, it's always going to feel terrible. Also, if you haven't been riding much, ride. You know, that also helps.
Any other questions on training?
I mean, you said swim and bike, but what if you do it not necessarily in that order? Does it not have an effect?
It'll still happen.
It will still.
Yeah.
So if like you swim first and then, or rather, bike first and then swim.
Yeah, and that just sort of serves an overall training purpose, and
Okay.
the swim can even be like sort of recovery. But from a actual training for race day perspective, I definitely recommend some bricks where you're actually doing it in the order so that you get used to the feeling of biking after swimming and then the feeling of running after biking. Definitely want to do that. All right, thanks, Joe. Cool. Thanks, Rashawn.
That's really what we've got most for you. We're here for you if you have training questions. There's a bunch of us around to talk about gear. Take a look around. We do have like the discounts for you today. And then in 12 minutes, if you want to go over changing the flat, we're going to do that again here. But keep an eye out on your emails. Keep an eye out on Facebook. We will be doing more flat kits and basic maintenance clinics upcoming. Yeah,
If you're wrapping up,
please.
A couple things, guys. One, biking is huge. At Chicago Triathlon, 9,200 athletes, 30% are first-time triathletes. So you guys are amongst friends out there. Something to think about is that not all of those first-timers have any idea of how to change their flats. And 10% of our total audience out there will flat on race day. So, sorry, 10% of our first-timers, newbie triathletes out there will flat. So we change around 300 bike tubes on the bike course alone because our athletes don't have the gears, or the tools, or the tubes, or all the things that take care of themselves. So it just adds to your time. So whenever you're out there riding, even tonight, learn how to fix your flat, be very proactive, carry all the tools that you need because you're gonna have a much better experience than the other 2,700 individuals who get out there on race day. That's huge. Second, and kind of unrelated, but from the Chicago Tri's perspective, we do our swim clinics. I know you guys talked about those a couple weeks ago, and I was not here. You guys, via this program, you guys will have priority access to those swim clinics. LiveGrid does theirs, and they're amazing. We host them for the entire community. So our first one is Tuesday, June 27th. We'll do them once a month leading up to race day. And we'll have 1,000 athletes out there at Ohio Street Beach. So these are big, and they're truly race experiences. We're going to simulate what your race day will be all about. Because you guys are in the program, you will have priority access to register for that first session a day earlier than anybody else. So we will email you guys on that. What's the day before June 1st? May 31st?
Oh, it's next
email you
week.
guys specifically with the special access code to get into that and just register for it. It's a free clinic, but we charge $10, and that goes to the Hunter Club of Chicago, just as a donation. So for what it's worth, just know that swim clinic should happen.
Reiterate that. That is an amazing clinic. We'll be out there as well. There are so many coaches. You will really get the feel of the community when you go to one of those swims, and you will get any support that you ask for. The Chicago Triathlon is really out there to help, especially the new athletes, kind of go through the sport. So definitely use that opportunity. Last thing I was going to mention just before we do break up, if all things are equal, if you feel comfortable on the swim, the bike, and the run, you're going to spend the most time on race day on the bike. Okay, it's the longest portion. It usually takes the longest. Okay, in comparison to bike and run, which are the two parts of the triathlon sport that we do using our legs almost always, running is a little bit more high impact. Biking is a little lower impact. So you want to try and take that into consideration when you are doing your training. You're probably going to spend a little bit more time biking than you are running. Don't follow my suit and not run, but make sure you incorporate that idea into your training. All right, thanks guys. Make sure we got more beer. Take a look around and stick around if you want to learn how to change flat.
And if anybody has like individual questions, feel free to ask anyone, Hootie, and
Yep.